welcome the Brunswick Community College Lady Dolphins. Their starting lineup: number 3, sophomore guard, Aisha Farwatch. Number 5, freshman forward, Shayla Ellis. Number 11, freshman guard, Erica Pearson. Number 14, freshman forward, Noah Tiffany. And number 24, freshman forward, Capria Presley. The Lady Dolphins are coached by Joe Gahan.
This was part of the benchmark.
And now,
So I'm so glad if this goes through.
Mark it complete.
So now should we start? When he gets done talking, then she can
Gabby Jackson.
Can she hear what we're saying right now?
Sophomore forward from
Hi, Sarah.
North Carolina.
Can you hear us?
Can you hear us? Can you hear what we're saying?
Sophomore
Nothing? Anything? You can hear it?
73 from North Carolina, Sophie Bishop.
Thank you for joining us tonight for the Wake Tech women's basketball matchup with Brunswick Community College. Got Stephanie Sports here along with Joshua McKinney.
Hey, Stephanie, how's it going?
Pretty good, pretty good. This should be a great matchup tonight. Brunswick's coming in undefeated, 4-0, and Wake Tech currently is sitting at 4-2.
You know, but both teams I think are going to match up pretty well. From what we've seen so far, Brunswick hasn't been tested too much in the early season, so I think Wake Tech might have that ability to kind of put them on the ropes early if they get out of the gate fast.
Absolutely, I agree. Wake Tech's got a quality win against Guilford Tech, and as you said, I don't think Brunswick's had too tough of opponents with playing Mount Olive JV twice. Not as strong as some of the JUCO teams in the conference.
Something to get them prepared for. Now, matchups tonight that I'm going to be keeping an eye on. For Wake Tech, number 2, Emily Davis. She ranks number 1 right now in the conference for scoring, 28 points per game. But on the other side of the court, you got number 24. She's going to be tapping it up in the middle right there. That's going to be...
Yes, that's Presley.
Yeah,
Presley's
Presley.
currently at 20 points per game, so very comparable on the court.
So both teams now starting off very quickly. We had the tip won by the Lady Dolphins. They're going to set up their offense. Going to the inside.
Looks like the Eagles are playing pretty solid defense. Not much opened up in the middle.
Pretty good staple there, I think, from Coach AB. I'm going to say AB, using her nickname here. Allison Beasley in her first season with the Lady Eagles.
We have a rebound with Tamia Grant. She's a sophomore out of Northside High School in Jacksonville.
Now, you've got a pretty good story to tell about Tamia. You've coached her for the last couple of years. She's a two-sport athlete. We're seeing her on the basketball court, but she's known to play volleyball too, right?
She is. She is a great athlete. Did really well for us both of the seasons that she played here. She just finished up last month with us and will be finishing up here, and we expect her to go on to play somewhere else next year.
Yep, and Tamia, of course, wearing number 30. She is a hawk on the glass. Last game, she ripped down 16 rebounds, so I would expect to see her not just getting the ball, but being able to get it out to the point guard so they'll be able to get it up the court on the offensive side.
I agree. Tamia is currently at 10.8 rebounds per game. That's second on the Eagles team. So we expect those numbers to stay there throughout the season. She's a dominant player for the Eagles.
Dominant player. And you know, one thing that you and I talked about off camera, and this goes back a couple of weeks, the conditioning factor. Yeah, I had told you, I was like, you know, Tamia should be able to walk right into a basketball gym and play. But that's not necessarily the case, is it?
No, not at all. It's a little bit different with what she's doing on the volleyball court. Sure, she's in shape to play volleyball games consistently and sometimes back-to-back games. Basketball is a totally different sport. You work different muscles, and so she took some time to get into even better shape to be able to compete with the Eagles tonight.
So just a game reset here. The Dolphins take the early lead. They're on top 2-0. We've got 8:26 to play in the first quarter. This is another new thing here if you're watching women's basketball for the first time. They play quarters, 4 quarters, 10 minutes each. Different than the men's game. They play 2:20s still.
Right.
Oh, nice look at the elbow. Drops it in. 4-0 right now in favor of Brunswick.
That was Tiffany with the 2 points there. She actually leads Brunswick in rebounds with 11 per game.
As you would expect there, number 14, she does have size in the middle.
Missed shot by Sophie. Eagles looking a little slow on defense on the way back down the court.
Ripped away by Presley, looking for the foul, didn't get it, and the Eagles come away with it, and they are looking to drive quickly up the court before pulling it back to set up their offense. Oh, got the blocking call there. Was a little surprised by that. Looked like it could have gone either way on that.
I had no words for that play. We've got Gabriella Johnson, a freshman guard, at the line for 2.
And Gabrielle is the one that sets up the offense. You'll be seeing her in that point guard role. She's the one that kind of orchestrates and dictates how the offense is going to play out for the Eagles on their side of the court. Now, while we're shooting the free throws, I want to kind of go back over the record here for us, or at least the season so far in a nutshell. And you can always look at this information online. It's at waketechsports.com, so always visit us there for the inside track on everything Wake Tech Sports. As we have a nice steal there in the middle. Turning defense into offense, that's another thing that I've noticed from the team this year. They're very good at pressing teams, and they'll get that ball turned over, transition that into easy buckets on the offensive end.
Absolutely, and that was number 41, Bethlyn Early, with the steal. She is actually averaging 10 points per game and 13.5 rebounds, as well as 2.3 blocks, which is the most on the Eagles team.
Which is an outstanding stat, considering she's averaging a double-double.
Oh, nice look.
Well played,
Good
well
look
passed.
by Johnson. That's Tamia Grant for 2. Here the Eagles go with the press again. It looks like we missed the trap. Oh, Brunswick gets it. Uncomfortable there, but they made it work and got 2. So
Presley from the top of the key, adding to her stat line.
that was Grant with the drive, got her own rebound and put it back for 2. Eagles need to hustle back on defense here, starting again with the soft press, which seems to be giving Brunswick some trouble.
Davis on the top of that press, going to try to get them caught in half court. Doesn't happen.
They break it, but it doesn't look like they have much to go to.
Presley again from the free throw line there. Free shot. They're going to reset their offense. 6:10 to play in the first quarter. 20 seconds on the shot clock.
Early with the rebound. Johnson bringing the ball up to set up the Eagles' offense. Tamia Grant trying to set a pick there. I don't know what happened on the handoff, but she's taking a 3. Doesn't go. See what we can do on defense here. Hopefully force another turnover.
And the one thing I have noticed so far from Brunswick, their leading scorer on the season. Apologize here, I'm ruffling through some notes.
That's correct. Presley is their leading scorer.
Presley is their leading scorer.
She is 24 points a game.
Everything
right now.
pretty much runs through her, and that offense does get sparked by her.
They look for her wherever she goes. That was Emily Davis for the Eagles, and that's who the Eagles look for wherever she's at. She really does carry the team in a lot of what she does.
You know, the one thing that I can say about Davis for the Eagles, she
Sophie
puts herself...
Biscoff with the block. I'm sorry, Joshua.
You're
that
fine.
was great. She's actually leading the Eagles with blocks this season, just a bit above Tamia Grant. And there she goes. That was Emily Davis with an assist to Biscoff for an easy 2.
Bischoff, another player that you used to coach last year on the volleyball court. Of course, she decided to choose the basketball route.
Did choose basketball, and I think it worked out well for her because she got a lot more playing time than she did with us. She had some more experience on the basketball end than she did on the volleyball end.
And Sophie brings a lot of energy. There's one thing about her that's contagious, and that's her smile.
Absolutely, absolutely. She seems to get along really well with her teammates too, which is important. And we got another block by Early. And we got a jump ball.
Arrow points to the Eagles.
Going the Eagles' way. Now we've got Ashlyn Moran in, number 12, at the point guard position. Davis with the air ball.
Very uncharacteristic of her early in games. In those contests, she usually hits early threes, and that helps her with her stat line. But seeing her miss,
right?
Yeah.
We need her to settle in here.
Yes, we do.
Tough defense. The Eagles have the Dolphins down to 12 seconds on the shot clock. 8. Still nothing good.
I think that was tipped.
Ashlyn pressing the ball to Davis.
Davis a little hard with that floating
Looked
jumper.
a little rushed to me.
Eagles could slow it down some here.
I agree. Set something up, do what was working for them earlier. I tell you what, though, their effort is there early with another steal in the right place at the right time, anticipating that play.
You know, again, Steph, you and I talk a lot off camera, and the one thing we talk about every year is that you get new players in at this level. So
absolutely,
from
it's
year
like
to year, the story
year.
changes. And the one thing that I've noticed about the Eagles this year, they're good on defense. Now, they just gave up there an offensive foul, but they're very solid on defense.
They did. Brunswick, number 24, I believe that was Presley drawing the charge.
Presley drawing the charge against Tamia Grant.
Looks like we got a half-court press going on here for the Eagles. Brunswick has a new guard in, Walton. Oh, wow. Wide open, and we missed her. Walton throws up a 3, no good.
Tries to bank it in, doesn't work out.
Got the defensive rebound for early, giving it to Moran, pushing it up the court. Does she have anywhere to go? Looks like we're setting up a little bit late.
You notice that Tamia tries to run in off that screen set by Sophie Bischoff.
Sophie with the quick 2. Brunswick now starting to press the ball up the court, beating us back. There was Presley met with 2 of the Eagle defenders. Emily with the hustle play and up for
Davis
2.
Up and in.
Looks like the Eagles are starting to settle in and get to where they need to be offensively. Their defense is really what's given them the edge here.
Yeah, one time they were trailing. Now they have gone ahead into this game. It's 14-8 right now in favor of Wake Tech.
Yes, go ahead and credit that last steal to Early. Again, getting her hands in there to force that turnover. Grant sets the pick. Davis strives, shoots the 2. No good. Got another jump ball here.
That'll go in favor of the Dolphins.
Looks like we've got 2 subs here for the Eagles. Number 15, Bianca Perry. And another volleyball player. Number 5, Breland Clark.
Oh, looky. Volleyball in the house tonight. How about that?
Look at that.
I did not know that Breland had a history in basketball. Did you?
She did play basketball
really?
in high school.
Great.
She did. She enjoys the game and was looking forward to participating with the Eagles this season. I spoke to Coach Beasley about her performance, and she feels that Breland brings a lot of hustle to the court. So she was a good addition for them, and of course a late add as volleyball season does run into basketball season, but she seems to be getting the plays well and fits in nicely.
Oh.
There we go. Kiss off the glass for number 5, Breland Clark.
The bank is open, huh? Yeah, how about that?
There we go, cashing in. I like it. We need to call some more of our players out here, and let's see if we can give them some good vibes for some more scores.
Steps called.
That is Kara Bailey that was called for the travel for Brunswick. She's looking a little frustrated underneath. I think it's that Eagles defense getting to her.
I think you're absolutely right. You know, we were talking about Breland, and I picked this up from watching volleyball this year. She's another one that brings a lot of energy. Can you speak a little bit about what she might be able to add in terms of a dynamic to the Lady Eagles?
Well, I think it goes back to that hustle and that presence, that she's a leader by example. I think the trouble that Breland's going to get into is the turnovers. As you see, she just had a turnover there, and it was unforced, just trying to make something happen that wasn't there. But again, I think she'll get better as the season goes on and she gets back into playing, as she is older than most of the girls on the team. She's actually 21. She went to BYU out of high school to go to school, and then moved to North Carolina after that, and was out of school for about a year and a half before coming back. So although she's doing a great job fitting in, like I said, I think she'll just continue to improve the more she plays. Oh, she sure did. That was a travel by Ashlyn Moran. Just couldn't keep that pivot foot on the ground, was looking for an opening to pass and couldn't find it in time.
Now Ashlyn, she becomes the primary ball handler whenever Gabriella Johnson is out of the lineup. So it's a bit of a different look for the Lady Eagles, and I think that might have been a little bit of the reason why we saw that early turnover, since she took over that leading role of being the point guard.
Sure. I think she brings a lot of hustle to the Eagles as well. And she has a little bit more speed, I believe, than Gabriella. However, both of them work really hard to get it done for the Eagles offensively. And that was Wilson going for that ball, but it looks like it's Eagles' ball, so it didn't go off of her. And they're running the inbounds play looking for her, but they couldn't find her. Moran open for the three, and it's good.
That's great. And that's, as the first quarter comes to an end, that is her bread and butter, the long-range three-point shot.
Absolutely.
I have seen that happen time and time again, and that play was executed perfectly.
Very composed, too. You have two defenders closing in on you, clock's running down, she throws it up, great form, nothing but net.
So while both teams kind of organize themselves before the second quarter begins, you look back at Wake Tech's schedule so far this year. Johnston Community College win, 97-29. Denmark Technical College, 86-36, a win. Their first true test came against Clinton College. That was a loss. It was a wake-up call, really.
Absolutely.
76-48. Then Guilford Tech. This was the game changer for me, and I'll tell you why. Guilford Tech usually comes in. They've got a lot of swagger. They've got great teams that they bring, and they travel around each year. Wake Tech held them. They went toe-to-toe for 40 minutes and claimed a 10-point win, 70-60. The Eagles could have given up at any point in time and lost that game, but they continued to play hard. And that won me over by seeing that game, and that let me know that they mean business this year.
I agree. I think they have a lot of fight defensively, and that's always fun to see, because a lot of times in basketball we get lost in the offense, and it's really nice when teams hone in on the defense, because that creates offense for you. And I think the Eagles really take pride in that this year.
What's the old saying? Defense wins championships, right?
Right. Depends on who you ask, right? And the sport, Softball, it's offense these days.
Well, I was an offensive player myself when I played soccer, so I am a little biased towards that end of the field.
Right.
But I do understand the significance of good defense, especially when you're able to transition that into points.
I was a libero and defensive specialist, however you want to look at it, So for me, it's always defense. That's so exciting to me, regardless of the sport.
But now this is our first broadcast, and this is a bit of a test tonight. But if we happen to have anybody out there that is watching tonight, I'm Josh McKinney. I'm the Sports Information Director, joined by Stephanie Sports, Assistant Athletic Director, also the women's volleyball coach. Steph, how long have you been here at Wake Tech?
8 years.
8 years.
8 years, yes, and a lot of different capacities, and I've enjoyed all the experience I've been able to get here in those different roles. I was the head coach of the softball team for a few years. I've been the women's volleyball coach for all of the 8 seasons that I've been here. I've been the assistant athletic director for the last 5 years. And what's really exciting about getting this live stream tonight and being able to discuss the game is this has been a long time coming, and this is good for our programs, good for our coaches and their players, and just to be able to show what they can do, and of course for our fans. Sometimes they can't make it out, and it's great in those times that they can just go online and watch the game and still support.
You know, and you really start to experience the fans and how they enjoy Wake Tech athletics through social media. That has really connected us to that fan base. And, you know, there are so many people that write on Twitter and let us know, how did the game go? What was the final score? So actually being able now to drive them, I think, to a live stream really sets the bar to a new level.
Absolutely is going to be my word of the night, because you've hit everything on the head. It's so true. You've done an excellent job as a sports information director in building that social media base for us, which reminds me, I was also the SID here before I was the assistant athletic director and the assistant women's basketball coach. So again, I had my hands in a little bit of everything. I taught some classes here as well, so I've learned a lot from the experience.
The thing is, though, we build things on a foundation, and you set a great foundation for me to come in on. So it's just, you know, you just keep working with the kids, keep working with the program.
Right.
Eventually, one of these days, you know, we're going to be able to sit back and say, this is what we wanted to see.
Yeah.
So a little bit of a game reset here.
There we go.
Before I went off talking about sports information and everything else, we had Tamia Grant that had put in another bucket there. The ball went out of bounds. A timeout was called by the Lady Dolphins. Now they're on the offensive end of the floor trying to get some points. They trail by 11 now.
They do. I have to admit here, Joshua, I thought this would be a closer game, and I know there's a lot of time left, but I thought that it would start close and stay close throughout. So I'm really impressed with the Eagles, you know, having such a lead that they do right now. Let's hope they hang on to it. We got Grant driving, looking for Emily Davis for three. No foul called on the play, but she did fall down. I didn't see what happened in the corner. Did you get a look at that?
Yeah, I didn't see anything happen there that should have been called a foul, but what I did notice after the play was great sportswomanship. You know, after Emily was down on the ground, Brunswick helping out. I mean, yeah, that to me right there, an early nomination for play of the game, just helping another player out.
Absolutely. Looks like the Eagles have dropped back into a zone.
Yeah, you got a good lead. You're going to try to protect that a little bit.
Offensively to get started with Presley, and she draws the foul.
Yeah, Brunswick's going to get in the game. You know, we mentioned earlier before they're going to have to go through her, and I think they kind of abandoned that for a few minutes as we saw the clock ticking out for the first quarter. They kind of went away from her. I think she was out for a little bit of a breather, but if they can get her back into the lineup, watch out.
First one is a miss. Yeah. Not what I was expecting with her coming in, but you know, sometimes it takes players time to settle in when they've traveled to get here. Brunswick is about a 2-hour trip. Of course, the team arrives an hour and a half early, so there's a lot of wait time in between, and just mental fatigue can set in. So we'll see how she progresses.
Brunswick Community College along Highway 17 down there, down East North Carolina, very close to the coast.
Yeah. Gabriella Johnson looking for number 15. That was Bianca Perry taking the shot.
Davis ripping away that rebound.
Swinging the ball here quickly. We got 3 passes and 1 in.
Get in.
Emily Davis adding 2 more.
Now she's starting to hit her shots now. Watch out.
Is. And it looks like the Eagles have come to life a little bit more on defense too. I see their hands up, their feet are moving a little bit quicker. We did get a foul on that play.
Sophie's
going to
get called for that. Yeah,
a little too eager on that one. I spoke too soon.
And there's that kindness from Sophie, looking at her teammates saying, sorry, that's on me.
There's the smile you were talking about earlier.
$1 million smile. If I had that smile, I might have made it in broadcasting.
Speaking of Emily Davis with the last 2 for the Eagles, I don't know if we mentioned this, but she is a transfer from Shaw University, which is right down the street. We had one of our former volleyball players go to Shaw as well. They just won the CIAA. But back to Emily, she's a great player. I spoke to AB about her, and Coach Allison Beasley feels that she's going to get some really good looks this season and potentially head to a Division I school after her time here.
You know, I can agree with you there 110%. And the one thing that I've noticed just by watching her play is that she gets the other teams involved. You check the stat sheet after a ball game, and you're like, she had 28 points?
Right.
Like, when did that happen? I didn't see that happen. She's just so much into making everyone else better.
Absolutely.
And I'm not saying that you forget about her by any means, but it's just she's able to be so efficient on the offensive side.
Very efficient. And Brunswick just struggling to get anything going on offensively here.
Yeah, Presley having an off night. She spun in the lane, wasn't able to get it to drop. Johnson back in the lineup, fires a three.
Oh, Johnson just threw that one up, and it looks like Early did get the rebound before stepping out of bounds. Johnson driving, dishing it out to Sophie. Oh, I thought that one was going in.
Sophie, 8-foot jumper. She probably should have hit that.
You know, she hit the last one from that same spot, so I thought it was it, but just missed. Coach Beasley not happy with the foul there.
Yeah, you know, the fouls are they're precious, and the reason why is because, you know, you look at Wake Tech, they got 5 on the court. They've only got 4 reserves on the bench, so, you know, if you start getting into foul trouble,
right,
how do you get those pieces to fit?
I think that will be the issue that the Eagles run into this season is the lack of depth. You really need to be able to put fresh players in as frequently as you can, and the Eagles just don't have that luxury, which comparatively, it looks like Brunswick sitting with the same amount of players on the bench. So again, another pretty even matchup in that regard too. Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and you would think that you know, we spent a little bit of time talking about Brunswick and how they haven't been tested yet, but it's weathering that storm.
Right.
Is Brunswick going to be able to weather it? Now there's a turnover at midcourt. Johnson all the way. Should be able to lay it in up. Just misses the layup.
We got to hustle back here.
Fatigue might be starting to play a role now. Will Brunswick be able to capitalize?
There's Presley with the 2. That's what we were expecting
Watch
to see
out.
a little earlier on.
Yeah, we've seen the Eagles with a full court press, half court trap. They've gone into a zone. If Presley starts to heat up, do you dedicate one player just to kind of be a shadow to her because she is so good?
I think you have to. I really think you have to. If you look at their numbers, I mean, she's scoring 20 points per game for their team. The second highest scorer for the Dolphins is Ellis with 10 points. So, I mean, you can really afford to designate one player for her if that's the situation. I mean, you're basically saying she's guaranteeing 20.
That's right. Yeah,
You know?
yeah. Well, a 30-second timeout called by the Eagles. Beasley not liking what she's seeing on the court there, wants to kind of reset it with her squad.
Okay. Just want to reiterate, that was 27-17.
27-17, game reset. Okay.
The Eagles are up. And while we're in the timeout, I want to go back to us talking about the matchups on paper. So the Dolphins actually have a field goal percentage of 39%. The Eagles' field goal percentage is 42%. So very close together. The Eagles have a little bit of an edge in the three-point percentages. They're coming in at 36, where the Dolphins are at 21%. And lastly, free throw percentage. The Eagles also get the nod in that category at 67% versus the Dolphins 60%. So again, very close on paper, but the Eagles do get the nod in 2 out of 3 categories.
You know, and the thing I think that stands out to me is going to be your free throw percentage. If you can get to the line and hit those free throws, it's always the one that either wins you the ball game or loses you the ball game.
Coaches get so frustrated about free throws because they're called that for a reason. You have to make the most of them. Speaking of giving the nod in regards to the comparisons, Brunswick has 54 rebounds per game compared to the Eagles' 43, and they're coming in at 13 assists per game to the Eagles' 10. So again, very interesting.
Breland Clark up and in.
That was a great drive by Breland. Great drive. All the way to the basket from inline to inline for 2.
Extends the lead to 12. We're sitting at 29-17. 4:01 remaining before halftime.
And that was a great play for the Eagles, of course. Brunswick throwing it away, looking for a player that wasn't there on the far side of the court. Breland tosses it in to Ashlyn, to Emily. Let's see what we'll set up here. Brunswick's got a soft press going on. Half court.
Breland looking to get by.
Breland finds Emily for 2
there
more.
It is. She got wide open. Makes you pay.
31-17.
Yeah, that's one thing the Dolphins cannot afford to do. Leave Davis open, especially on that elbow, to get a free shot about, 10 feet out?
Absolutely. And there's Presley just really taking it to the basket. That'll be out of bounds on the Eagles.
Inbound plays, always very interesting.
That was Tiffany, number 14, that came out of the game for Brunswick. She's actually their best rebounder, so they're going to miss her for a few minutes here. Presley taking it in strong, and Sophie drawing the foul.
It's going to be on, it's going to be on Davis.
Interesting. Well, I guess I was seeing something different than they were seeing.
Substitutions for the Eagles. Johnson coming back into the lineup. She's going to replace Davis, who is going to come out and take a much-needed break. I will say this, though. She doesn't take frequent breaks. She plays majority of the game, so this might be the only one that she gets before halftime.
She does. And that was number 11, Persall, coming in for Robinson.
Oh, heads up, heads up.
That was almost a travel there. Johnson not ready for the pass from Moran. Johnson taking it in for two.
Down the floor.
Oh, there's Presley. There's
Up
the
it
Presley
in.
that we've been reading about.
Yeah, she was able to beat the 2v1. A hard-earned 2 points, and it's a 10-point ball game. 31-21 Eagles. 2:46 left to go in the first half.
There we go. That was Bianca Perry off the bench, number 15 for the Eagles, driving in and scoring two. That'll put the Eagles up 33-21. We've got 2 minutes and 35 seconds left in the second quarter.
Bischoff's going to pick up another foul here. She was just in the wrong place at the wrong time on that one.
Bischoff, yes, that's Sophie. I apologize for mispronouncing her name earlier in the cast. So Joshua,
Yes.
going into halftime, what do you think that you would be telling your team if you're the Eagles or if you're Brunswick? What are you seeing here?
Well, I'll take it from the Eagles first. Number one thing is going to be to do a better job picking your shots. Right now, what I'm seeing is, you're forcing up a lot of free looks that might not be the best shot to take. Now, there have been a few drives in the lane with Johnson where she hasn't been able to get it off the glass and in. You might want to try to take get that shot off a little bit sooner because it's going up really forced.
Right.
Outside of that, on the offensive end, the defensive end, I should say, apologize for stepping over you there.
That's okay.
I think they're doing a great job. It's just transferring that defense to offense, that momentum, get it to flow together.
And two, what I noticed with smaller guards driving to the basket, sometimes they prepare for the foul that they don't get. And so it's a lot harder off the glass instead of just a smooth lay it in. So I think as time goes on, she'll ease into that. That was Breland Clark with a nice 2-point score there for the Eagles.
And we have called her name a few times tonight. I think she's already with 6 points.
And we've also called Presley's name quite a few times tonight. There
and we're
she
not
goes
done with her yet either.
No. And the Eagles are back up by 10, now 35-25 with 1:47 left to go in the second quarter.
Oh.
And that was Perry again for three for the Eagles.
3-point basket from beyond the arc pushes it to a 13-point lead. Right now, the Eagles are in the driver's seat.
Number 11, that's Persall that went up for two with the miss, got her own rebound. The putback was good for two. Moran looking for something underneath. Nothing working in the high post there.
You got time to set something up here. Plenty of time on the shot clock.
Absolutely. They've got 15, and you've got our tallest player, Wilson, there at the high post, caught it, threw it back out. We got Perry again.
Offensive rebound underneath by Clark, puts it up and in.
Yes, Clark again with a great offside rebound there. Nice putback for two for the Eagles.
I don't have the official stats, but she's working at least on 8 points right now.
Right, and I'm going to say this is probably the highest lead of the game at 15 points. 40 for the Eagles, 25 for the Dolphins, and we're down to 45. seconds left before the half, and we're down to 22 on the shot clock.
Oh,
Bree
wide
finding
open Eagle.
Ashland driving, and good for 2.
And the lead continues to extend.
Great play. Opened it up. Found her, and she drove, did not hesitate. Great score there for Moran.
So now I'm going to have to revise what I said. They're already starting to implement the defense to offense, and
they
they're hitting
heard you. It's so much easier to coach from here, isn't it,
it.
Joshua?
It is. It really is. I've never been a coach in my life, but I have pretended to be one, and I yell at the TV every night of the week.
Yes. I think we're all guilty of that.
Under 4 on the clock.
3, 2.
No
ball
foul
out
called.
of bounds. It'll be Eagles ball. We have 1.6 seconds left before the half.
Plenty of time for a set and shoot or a tip in.
Absolutely, absolutely. It looks like we'll be able to get a shot off.
The Eagles have size there underneath. You might be able to break
They
away.
do. I was wondering
Yeah,
if
get
Coach
a lay
Beasley
there.
was going to add some size
Ah,
underneath,
that's gonna
try
do
to
it.
get one. Well, we didn't get a score there, but we're looking pretty good going into halftime. Eagles are now up 42-27 over the Dolphins.
That was a very exciting first half of play. You know, it was close there, but then you get into the waning moments of that first half, and Wake Tech was able to extend the lead. Now for Brunswick, you mentioned what can they do to
Right.
improve? You go to your bread and butter. She's been in the mix, but hasn't taken the game over.
Right. Allow her to dominate. Create plays specifically for her. Execute those plays so she can get the ball in better situations so she's more successful.
I know we're probably on the wide view here. You're seeing some folks walking in front of the camera. We welcome Wake Tech baseball tonight. They are always out in full force supporting the Eagles, no matter whether it's volleyball, men's, or women's basketball. So that's who you're going to see out on the court right now, taking a few shots. They're not pitching the ball. They're shooting the ball.
No catching either, no hitting.
Hopefully we don't get any arm injuries out there.
Right. They are a great support system. Did you see that?
I don't know if you saw that.
in?
That was actually Ben Orman.
That was
the team manager. That's right, team
He's
manager.
been with them for several years.
Very
That's
active on
great.
Twitter himself, actually. Oh,
That
that's
was
great.
great. I'm glad we got that. So back to, you were going to let us know what you thought the plans would be for Brunswick going into halftime.
You're looking at a large deficit. You know, it's 42-27. You got to tell your players not to give up. You know, you're coming into the conference right now. This conference game, you're sitting in second place right now in the conference. You're undefeated.
Yeah.
It's 1-0, but still,
Right,
you can say,
right.
hey, you're undefeated. You got nothing to lose here. Leave it all out on the court. I think
Right.
that's what I would be doing if I was the coach right now for the Lady Dolphins. I don't get paid to do that, but nonetheless, that's what I would say. Stick to your bread and butter.
We get paid to give our opinion on it. So we're going to keep giving that opinion, and I'm going to agree with you here. I think Brunswick's just got to settle in this second half if they're going to get back in the game. And like we mentioned earlier, they've got to get Presley going if they're going to get their offense rolling. I think the defense for Wake Tech has really pressured
That's
them.
right. Defensive recognition, being able
Right.
to get out of that trap.
And I think they really have to move the ball on offense well and look for openings instead of forcing a lot of shots. And of course, they got to rebound. So we'll see how they come out of this halftime if they've listened to what we have to say
Exactly.
and
Yes.
how they'll respond.
But, you know, switching gears here just a little bit, you know, we've talked a little bit about both teams, what they can do coming out in the second half. This is our first broadcast.
It
What
is.
What happens if you want to learn more about Wake Tech? I would visit the website. What is it? It's waketechsports.com.
I would also follow on Twitter
Yes.
at Wake Tech Sports.
At Wake Tech Sports, yes. Now, our Twitter account does great. I think we do a very good job breaking down all the games, but the insider information definitely on that website, waketechsports.com.
And if you're not into Twitter, you can also check us out on Facebook.
That's right. We are on Facebook, and we also have an Instagram feed.
And of course, our website is also up where you can get our latest scores for each of our teams
That's
and
right.
any news updates, any stories that are going on with our teams
Well,
right now.
there's always great stories that come out from our players. You know, we just featured Khadijah Daniels Just
Yes,
had a
Khadija,
great story.
Player for the
now,
Eagles
yeah,
last
now
season.
had a great couple of years here wearing the blue and gold. Now playing at Peace. I mean, just an outstanding player. Her jump from first to second year was probably the best that I've ever seen. You know, she went from a player that was coming off the bench scoring 2 or 3 points to the second year being a team leader, scoring.
Really dominating.
Yeah. I mean,
Absolutely.
and not just for the team, but the entire conference.
And what I think is even more valuable to her story is her character as a person. And when you can talk to the coaches about her and they all have nothing but good things to say, you know, it's great if a player is good physically, but it's great if they're very coachable. And she's a coachable player. And so everyone was very excited about her success and we wish her really well at William Peace.
So what we're hearing is a little bit of behind the camera. Me being the SID, I like to take sports pictures. I
Right.
love sports photography. It's something that I enjoy.
And you're great at it. You are great at it.
Well, I appreciate that, you know, but I enjoy capturing that moment. But I tell you, Steph, I'm so caught up right now in this broadcast
Me
and being
too.
alongside you that I'm not going to leave.
You're
So
doing a great
sadly,
job. I'm a newbie here.
Sadly, the only pictures you're probably going to see are from my cell phone tonight, because I'm dedicated to
That's
you,
okay, I like
Eagle
it.
Stream, and all of our
Eagle
fans at
Stream,
home. I mean, this is a
absolutely.
great broadcast.
This is a great I mean, this is big for Wake Tech athletics.
It is.
It's 2018. We've had programs since 2008.
Yes.
10 years. What a great thing in 10 years. Now, I
We're
know
celebrating a decade.
We are celebrating it.
Yeah, if you
yes.
see that on our website, we've got a nice Eagle logo with the 10.
do.
Yeah.
I believe you came up with that, didn't you?
I did not. I have to credit our graphic designer at the time, Christopher Clark.
Okay.
Chris
okay.
Clark did a great job coming up with that logo.
I
but
think
yeah.
it was your idea
Yes.
for the logo, and then he designed the
That's-
logo because you guys make a great team that way.
Well, that's something that I could put down on LinkedIn, maybe a managerial skills. You come up with ideas and you pass them on to someone else, right?
Yes. This announcing is definitely going on my resume.
Good.
I
Yeah,
can
as
say,
it should.
check this off.
As it should. And you know,
As
you
it
should
should.
download this video, save it, and you can put that on your
Yes.
LinkedIn too, so people can see this for years to come.
Absolutely. I read that you have to watch what you announce, and you have to be very critical of yourself afterwards, so you can make improvements on
Yes.
this side of things.
Well.
It's a lot harder than what you may think. I mean, I sit at home all the time and I listen to announcers all day, and I'm like, I can do that. Well, not as well, because you're doing a fantastic job.
Well, you know, it comes from one, just, you know, you get over the fact that, hey, people are going to be critical, and you just be yourself.
Right.
You know, you just
Right.
shake it all out. You know, you and I
just
both have, we
run
both
with
have
it.
kids, and they're about the
Absolutely.
same age. And there's a song out there. It's like, shake the wiggles out. You just shake the wiggles out. You know.
I'm not familiar with that one, but I'm sure it's coming. I'm sure it's coming.
I can't play it over the air because of
Right.
copyright, but still, I tell you, it's out there. And
You just gave him a shout out.
right.
No, this has been a whole lot of fun. It's really great for the players to get the recognition, and like I said again, for any fans to watch that can't be here, you know, that's something that's different with junior colleges. A lot of the students that are on campus, it's a commuter campus. We don't have dorms, so when the day's done with classes, a lot of times they're going to work afterwards.
That's right.
And they don't necessarily come back to campus for these games. We'd love as much turnout as possible, but sometimes it's just not feasible.
It's just not possible. That's right.
Right.
Yeah, and I think that you're alluding to a great point there. You know, it doesn't mean that they're not fans of Wake Tech.
Right,
You know,
right.
I go out in the community and I see folks wearing Wake Tech sweatshirts. You know, they've got Wake Tech T-shirts. I mean, this community loves Wake Tech, and
Yes.
I think that they have continued to gravitate towards the fact that we have an athletics program. Now, there are some of those out there that don't even know that we have an
Right.
athletics program, but once they find out that we do, they become interested in learning more about us.
And you mentioned this earlier, that we have people following, and I will say this too, you know, if I go, last year I went to baseball's region tournament, and I was on Twitter, you know, putting out tweets
yes,
as fast
yes.
as I could,
Oh, you
play
did a
by
great job
play.
with that.
And the second that I miss one, I've got somebody
Yeah.
who's responding. What's happening now? What's happening now? I mean, it was literally pitch for pitch, because people who couldn't make it were really tuned in, and that's a great avenue to be able to get the information out there to people who really care about what's going on.
There are
with
many
Wake Tech
different
athletics.
many different segments to Twitter that are just, they're diehard to the platform. One of those, baseball fans.
I agree.
They really are.
I
They really
agree.
are. Yep.
And I will say this: we mentioned that at Wake Tech Sports, we have the Twitter feed, which is for all of athletics.
That's right.
But each of our sports has an
They have their own.
individual
That's right.
feed for their teams.
That's right.
And I will say a lot of the followers and those putting the tweets and retweeting are the baseball team.
Baseball team. And I know you can't see them from the two shot here, but they're sitting to my right. That'd be
Right.
to your left. And, you know, I could probably count, 25 guys over here tonight?
I agree.
And the other guys are probably in the weight room working
They
out or
probably
running
are
right
in
now.
the weight room, yes.
You know, so it's multitasking central here with the baseball team.
And since we're talking about the baseball team, we might as well put a plug in there for our program too. Coach Eric Sabrizi has been with us for several years. He's done an excellent job with the baseball program.
I would agree.
We have high in numbers. We have high in GPAs. We have a lot of our student athletes on the baseball program that are moving on to Division I programs. So there's a lot of good things happening with the baseball program. It's very strong. We play our baseball games at the Salamanders ballpark
That's
in
right.
Holly Springs.
Ting Park in Holly Springs.
Ting Park, yes. So if you want to catch a game, some people may not know this, but our main campus gym, Southern Wake Campus,
That's right.
is where we play the men's and women's basketball games as well as our volleyball games.
Aptly called the Eagle's Nest.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
The Eagles Nest, yes. And the other teams that we have are softball teams, baseball, both of our soccer teams, and our golf team play off campus.
That's right. But Ting Park still for men's and women's soccer. That's for their home games.
Men's and women's soccer and baseball are
Yeah,
at Ting
and
Park
baseball.
together, and it's close by.
And golf, it's easy to remember.
Fabulous facility.
Eagle Ridge.
Eagle Ridge
Yeah.
for golf,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. That was not by design. It just happened that way.
Right.
So warm-ups. At
It
least
looks
the
like
Eagles
we've
are
got
back out on
Coach
the court.
Beasley coming up to give us a quick interview
Oh,
before we go
there
back
we go.
onto the court. We've got 8 minutes and 50 seconds left of halftime.
Well,
so
that's
we're
going to be
gonna
my
ask
cue to
her a
slip
few
aside, and
questions.
I'm going to let you
Sounds
handle that.
Good. All right. Coach Beasley, join us.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Slide in here. We good?
good.
All right. So let me get your feedback. How are you feeling coming out of halftime?
Feeling pretty good. I feel like as long as we keep the defense up, we'll be fine. My freshmen, showed some leadership out there. All my sophomores got in foul trouble, so I had to put all my freshmen, and that's who we're going with to start the second half.
Okay, that'll be interesting. What are you noticing from Brunswick that's maybe giving you a little bit of trouble that you think you can do better?
Well, we got to stop 24. They were trying to get the ball to 24.
Right.
So if we can stop 24, I think we'll be fine.
Okay, good. Anything you'd like to add about the game or any players, anything that stands out? Want to give a shout out to your assistant coaches, I'm sure.
Yeah, my assistant coaches, Coach Q and Coach D. We all got to keep up the good work, but on a serious note, as long as we play defense, we'll be fine and we'll win this game.
Absolutely. Well, good luck to you, and congratulations so far. 42-27 is a great score right now. If you can hang on for 2 more quarters, you'll be out of here with another win. That'll put you at 5-2 overall, and that'll be your second conference win so far, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. Well, good luck to you. Thank you for your time. We'll go ahead and let you get back to what you do.
All right, thank you.
All right, have a good one. All right, well, I'm waiting for my sidekick to come back. In the meantime, we'll talk about the Eagles warming up here.
You slide back in here.
Yeah, slide back in here. Johnson, Sophie, Wilson, everyone hitting from their spots right now. It's looking really good for the Eagles warming back up at halftime.
Well, the thing, though, is that I do this and I hit shots, but you put a defender on me, it's a much different story.
It does change the game. I mean, look at layups. We've missed quite a few layups. And,
Yes.
And again, the defender may not even be on you, but they're just in the area.
That's
and
right.
It changes the game for you a little bit. It's interesting that we're down to 6 and Brunswick hasn't came back out yet. I'm guessing they had a little bit more to talk about. So we'll see how they respond in the second half.
Yeah, that's a very good observation. Not, and this is the first time I've seen them all season. Maybe this is more characteristic of them. We don't know. But one would suspect, you're down 42-27. That's a pretty wide margin. The coach is going to want to iron out a few things for you. A good crowd tonight. Great
Yeah,
crowd.
Started filling up a little bit more. And I didn't mention this earlier, but The Eagles have 4 more games in December, and they are all on the road. And the last of those games is actually a tournament at Montgomery College, which is in Rockville, Maryland. And one of their opponents is to be determined at this time. The other is Monroe Community College. So that'll be an interesting tournament to see how the Eagles do playing it against teams not in their conference or their region even, because we're region 10 and that would be region 20. So basketball, of course, is different in different regions. Just like volleyball, you've got some stronger regions than others. So it'll be interesting to see how they do, especially on the road so far away, because sometimes players don't respond well to the travel and the stress of that, and sometimes they respond very well. And what's great about those trips is that it really gives you an opportunity for your teams to bond. And so we'll see if they come out of that tournament even stronger than they do going in. And now we have it. Brunswick's coming back from halftime. Looks like we got 4:55 before we get started.
Plenty of time to warm up.
Our men's basketball team is actually on the
talk
road
about
tonight.
Yeah, let's talk about the men's basketball. Who are they playing?
Vance Granville?
Vance Granville, yeah.
I'm probably going to need to look that
That's
up.
all right. We can do that.
Let's look that up to be sure.
No.
I really like the feed. I'm looking at some of the pictures here, and we really have clear shots. These cameras are great in the facility. We talked about it earlier. We don't have the best lighting, but it doesn't look bad at all. It really is a nice, clear picture for our viewers, so I hope you guys are enjoying this. We sure are.
You know, and that's something else that we've got to say is that, you know, we are not just the ones putting this on. Eagle Stream is putting this on, and Eagle Stream does a great job within the Wake Tech community of putting out on the live stream things that are events that are happening on campus. You know, and these things are important not just to our student community, but some items are to the overall community in general, which is a part of our mission statement, serving the community of Wake County. So we've got to thank Eagle Stream. We've got Chris here tonight. We've got Sarah here tonight. Both of them behind the scenes doing an excellent job making sure that we are on air.
We just show up and they just do all the work, and that was fun.
You know, well, I mean, hey, usually we're here already.
We are here already.
So why not put a mic in front of our face and make us talk?
Why not? I like it. and want to follow up with the help here. We've actually got Carlos watching our feed. And
it's Carlos.
So let's give Carlos a shout out.
Carlos.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. We appreciate the feedback.
So now we can make this interactive. Carlos, am I doing better than you expected? Please let me know. He's going to say yes. I know he will.
I'm not going to ask yet because, again, I'm the newbie.
You're doing an outstanding job. I tell you.
Did we get feedback from Carlos yet? Are we still waiting on that feedback?
He'll get back to us, that's for sure. All right, so time ticking down here on the halftime clock. Folks, you know, if you haven't experienced a game here at the Eagles Nest, let me tell you what you can expect. A family-friendly atmosphere. You walk into the lobby, you're going to be greeted by photos of all of our teams on either side. Soccer, men's, women's soccer, golf, baseball, volleyball, men's, women's basketball.
10 teams here at Wake
10
Tech.
teams.
10 teams.
And we always get compliments on our concession stand. People love the popcorn.
You're not wrong.
It's the best popcorn in town.
You're not wrong. It is the best popcorn. I agree.
You hear everywhere you go, the best ever. But people have said our popcorn is the best ever.
Our popcorn
it's the best popcorn.
It's legit.
Yeah. Let's see, I was checking something for you, wasn't I, Steph? That was the men's basketball schedule.
You were checking the men's basketball
Sorry about
schedule.
that.
And I just want to go back to these warm-ups because I mentioned earlier, you know, I watched Brunswick warm up pregame, and they looked pretty solid, and then they came out a little unorganized, a little tired, maybe a little shocked from the defense. But now they're warming up again at halftime, and I really think that they've regrouped, and I think they're ready. So we'll see if this warm-up translates into the second half of the game.
All right, you were absolutely correct. The men are playing at Vance Granville Community College. Of course, you know, this is a live stream. For us, game starts in 5 minutes. If you watch this at a later date, you're going to want to find out who won that ball game.
Right.
Wake Tech and Vance Granville have already played once this season.
They have?
It came on November 17th. We won that game at home by a final score of 102-84. So we'll see if we can carry that momentum on the road, but you can check out that. I'll have all the stats for you, plus a write-up on our website, waketechsports.com.
All right, we're under 30 here. We're eager to get started again to see if the Eagles are going to pull away with an even bigger lead. We're going to start the third quarter with a 42-27 lead by the Eagles.
15-point advantage.
Really looking forward to seeing how Brunswick plans to respond.
And one thing that I've learned here, at least at this level, no lead is a safe lead.
You are right about that. We've seen it time and time again. You can't settle, you can't relax.
Right.
You've got to keep pushing because momentum swings, and if you don't do anything about it, before you know it, it's a 2 or 3 point game when it should have been an easy win.
Exactly.
So we've got Presley here who's getting ready to inbound the ball for the Dolphins.
And they'll be going from right to left on your screen. The Eagles will go from left to right wearing the white uniforms with the blue trim.
As Coach Beasley stated at halftime, she's starting the third quarter with her freshman team. She mentioned that quite a few of her sophomores were in foul trouble.
That foul trouble conversation we had earlier coming back.
It does.
But I'll tell you, the difference maker has been the one that's holding the ball right now on the court, number 5, Breland Clark. I didn't get her stat line, but I counted at least 8 points working on having a solid first outing.
Perry was looking for Johnson in the high post, but it was turned over by Presley, who drives down and misses. Moran looking up the court for Johnson.
Look for the long-range jumper.
Johnson's taking the jumper, missed it. This is kind of what we talked about earlier. I think it would help both teams if they settled down, set up their offense, looked for good shots instead of just quick shots.
Well, yeah, you could have gone 2 ways with that. Johnson could have pulled the ball out, waited for some players to get down, or could have taken it to the basket and hoped for a foul.
I would have went with the drive.
Uh-oh.
There we go with a 3. Oh, no, that was a 2, Joshua.
Just inside the arc.
On the line. That was number 4, Iona Walton for the Dolphins.
Double team at top, leaves the player open.
Perry looking for something here, driving through the lane.
See, I think that's smart basketball. You know, you've already got some players on the bench for the Lady Eagles in foul trouble. Drive the lane, try to get the other team in foul trouble.
Draw the foul, absolutely.
Oh, wonderful.
That's where we wanted the ball.
Count
That
it.
is where we wanted the ball.
Yeah, go
That
on.
was Wilson for 2 on the inbounds pass from Breland. That'll be assist for Clark.
And the foul was on number 24, Presley, for the Lady Dolphins. That could be key later on. So looking for the 3-point play the old-fashioned way.
That's Perry with the rebound.
Let it go. You can let it go. Yep, that'll stay with the Eagles.
That's got to be really frustrating for the opponent when there's the miss and then an offensive rebound and they're shooting again and again. And
well, you learn you learn at such a young age. Box out, box out.
Absolutely. I feel like you don't see as much of that as you used to. I feel like it's a lot of jumping sometimes, and if they really take their time to box out, they get a lot better rebounds. Moran with the behind the back to Clark, to Perry for 3, and she nails it! Nice job. A little confusion on the play. Not sure if that was supposed to be a full court press or half court.
Yeah, you're right.
And it really cost them.
It did. Yeah, you come out that made 3-point basket, you think automatically you go into that press, but you're right, there was some confusion there.
A press right there would have been demoralizing too. You throw a press in right after the 3-point play, added pressure, especially when you're already down by 15. going back to our halftime interview with Coach Beasley, I asked her how she felt coming out of halftime, and she said she was really happy with the Eagles' defense, and I got to agree.
How about that shot?
I know. That was Perry again.
So Perry with the hot hand right now. I would not take her out of the lineup one bit.
Right. There we go again with another three from Perry.
Oh, I thought
Just
for sure that was going to
misses.
drop.
Oh, she's got the ball again, driving. Oh, just missed. Oh.
Going to be an over-the-back call
Looked
there.
like Wilson was
Yeah,
over the back
yeah.
on that one.
She might have gotten away with it the first time, but the ref's not going to swallow the whistle the second time.
Coach Beasley getting her subs in.
Wholesale substitutions coming in right now for the
We've got
Eagles.
4 sophomores back in the lineup.
Yeah, I would say the lineup that we had just out there with mainly freshmen composed, more of an offensive get out in front of the ball lineup. This is going to be more of a defensive set lineup, I believe.
Oh, it looks like we got away with a foul there.
Nice hands.
Nice hands by Breland Clark. So those hands now have the shot clock down to 18 for the Dolphins. So they've got to make something happen here. Coach Q not happy with something that happened on that play. I'm not sure. Did you see what it was?
I wasn't so certain on what I saw there, but sometimes you just got to yell out there to kind of get everybody on the same page. So it's understandable, but you would know that.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Okay, that's great.
Great defense, getting a shot clock violation for the Lady Dolphins. It'll be out of bounds for the Eagles. 6:22 left to go in the third quarter. It's 49-31 in favor of Wake Tech.
And that's that defense that Coach Beasley was talking about at halftime. That's a huge momentum boost for your team if you can hold your team to a shot clock violation. Grant dribbling in traffic, ends up being a jump ball.
Yeah, you're right. Ends up being a jump ball.
Let's see
Eagles
what they have
possession.
cooked up for us on this inbounds play.
So with that Eagle possession and jump ball, the shot clock does not reset. 17 left.
I think we were looking for the high post there and didn't get it. There's Davis driving, kicking it out to Early. Ooh, Early with the miss. Presley with the rebound, pushing it up the court. Let's see what she does.
Soft hands.
Oh, just missed.
The iron a little unkind. And she has not had a lot of shots to drop tonight. I think she'll easily be in double digits, but certainly below her average.
Maybe we jinxed it earlier when I said that was a guarantee.
Yeah. Hey, well, if that kind
was
of guarantee
Emily.
jinx it and we get a win, I'm okay with that.
There we go. We have Carwise, who's running point for the Dolphins right now. And that's Ayanna Walton driving through the middle.
Yeah, Davis going to pick up another foul here.
That'll be Ashlyn Moran subbing in for Breland Clark. And we now have 5:20 in the third quarter, 49-31. Eagles on top.
Inbound play goes awry for the Dolphins. Tap back out of bounds, so they'll do it again.
Again, I think they're really getting tested tonight. They almost look shocked that things aren't falling for them, as if they're used to them doing so.
Yeah, but you've hit on this time and time again. It's that defensive edge that goes to the Eagles. They're really starting to force the Dolphins to take shots, ill-advised shots, and they can't even get into the middle of the paint.
Right. You see Presley drives there. Looks like she did draw the foul. It's going to be on 41. That's Early. That's Bethlyn Early again, 41. I mentioned she's averaging 10 points per game for the Eagles and 13.5 rebounds. Looks like she's going to go talk to Coach Beasley on the side about that foul. If I had to guess, I would say Coach Beasley's not happy with the foul or the excuse that she's given. Didn't look like that.
Yeah, you see her hands extended there. Had my arms up,
she
Coach.
Said,
had my arms up.
I've heard that one before.
Yeah.
You sure did. And then they fell into the opponent.
I don't think the shot clock was reset there on the inbound play, so we'll get it out of
We
bounds
were
near
at-
midcourt.
Right, a little slow on the trigger there. We were at 23 seconds, so needed to move that back to 30. Grant with the drive and the dish. Oh! Missed opportunity there, but it was a great look by Grant.
Yeah, it really was, and that's something I have not seen a lot of from Tamia tonight is driving the lane. You know, she's usually very hard-nosed, get it in there and get your defender on her heels a bit, and I haven't seen that a lot.
I completely agree. Let's see if this inbounds play works better than the last one. They've got the low post covered with a double team. We got Sophie kicking it to Emily, Emily kicking it to Ashlyn. Ashlyn kind of throwing one up there, and it did not fall the way we'd hoped it would. Yeah. Presley again pushing it up the court and just throwing one up there. It appeared that went out on Brunswick, but
it's going to
according
stay
to
with
the
the
ref,
Dolphins.
It didn't.
You go back to that last shot by Ashlyn, and usually her softer hands just kind of guide that ball, and it goes right into the basket. It's not able to do that tonight, so there's a lid on there. Will these misses give Brunswick the opportunity to get back into this ball game?
And I will say this, I don't know if you noticed, Joshua, but they've ran 3 different inbounds plays for the Eagles, and each of the low post positions were covered on those plays.
You're
so
right.
I think Brunswick's starting to pick up their defensive
Starting to figure it out a little bit, yep.
But I will say this zone that we're working right now is really causing them to struggle because we're big enough to keep them around the perimeter, and they don't have open looks out there either. So they can't work it inside, and they can't shoot it outside.
Probably wondering why no back court violation was called. That was tipped by Wake Tech.
It was tipped. And as I was speaking about no openings, you saw them get the ball to Presley, but she just missed the open jumper at the top of the key.
And then
Look at Grant! Yes, with another dish to Sophie. Did she get the...
I think it's going to go the other way.
That was a phenomenal look. I was looking at the pass, and I didn't even see the charge. Is that what was called, Joshua?
Yep. Had a player control foul there on the pass, so the basket does not count. It'll go the other way. And that's another foul that's starting to add up for the Eagles. They're sitting at 4 team fouls right now.
Wow.
4 team fouls this half. Nice block.
There's Sophie with another block.
Unable to protect the basketball.
I think I mentioned earlier that Sophie's leading the team by a small margin, but at 2.5 blocks per game. That was Grant with good hands on the ball there. So again, each time they're playing them tough and they're tipping these balls out, we're taking time off of the Dolphins shot clock.
That's right.
So now they're down to 18.
You know, you talk about Sophie leading in the blocks category. She was actually in the top 3 last year as well, and it's easy to see that. I know from your camera angle, you probably can't tell, but I can confirm just on my own knowledge, Sophie has got a lot of height.
Absolutely. Good observation.
Yeah.
Maybe an injury on the court right now. It looks like Bianca Perry is
Perry,
down for the
you're
moment.
right.
Kind of hobbling there. We'll see how serious it is. Looks like she's going to walk it off here.
That's
Coach
good.
Beasley looking for a sub, and it's going to be Gabby Johnson here going in. We hope she's okay. She managed to get off the court pretty easily there, so maybe
take a
just
look at
tweak
that.
something.
Yeah, take a little bit of a breather, get it checked out by the trainer. But you know, this is one of those key moments here. Perry came alive early on here in the third, so
she did. She really lit it up, and we're actually at 49-34 now. We haven't had much happen in the last 2 minutes. That's Johnson throwing up a for three.
Watson for three.
I put it in the atmosphere, and then there it is. So now we've got things happening. That moves the Eagles to 52 and 34.
Well, that's Johnson doing what she does best. She likes to fire up those threes beyond the arc.
She does. That'll be a tip off of Sophie, and that's Dolphins ball.
And I don't know if you saw that at home, but that ball was actually retrieved and given back to the official by our cheerleading team. Wake Tech cheerleaders in the house tonight. Thanks for being here.
That was a three by number 3, Carwise, for the Dolphins, which brings the score to 52-37. We've got 2 minutes and 32 seconds left here in the third quarter. Davis looking for Ashlyn. Moran throwing it up for 3.
So both teams coming alive behind the arc right now.
Every time the Dolphins seem to get something going for them, the Eagles have an answer.
That's right.
Johnson pushing it up the court.
Weaving in and out of the lane, looking for help.
We got a high pick here. Waiting for someone to cut in the post. We got a miss there by Davis. We've got a defensive rebound there.
Davis a little
the
cold from
Dolphins.
behind the arc tonight. Usually she's almost a guarantee when she puts up a 3-ball. Fast
Here
break.
goes early on the break. Oh, too hard. Davis on the putback. No good, as she was fouled on the play.
That's one of those instinctual plays. You be there for the miss and you're ready to put it back up and in. Davis, one of those heads-up plays that's not easy to coach in terms of training
Right.
someone to get underneath that basket to be ready for a missed shot. But she
Right.
was without asking.
Right, you got to play those percentages, and that was an offside rebound where you're going to find the ball most of the time. You just got to be there, and she was.
And Emily is lights out on the free throw line.
She is making her first of 2.
She makes it look so effortlessly,
She
though.
does, she does. And that's 2. She drains them both. Very composed player. So the Dolphins make light of the press, but then turn the ball over.
I think we had a kick ball on the far side.
They really did slice right through that
Yeah, they
press
did.
just now, but then didn't seem like they knew where to go with it once they got down here.
You know, just by evaluating this game tonight, if you want to think either the full court press or the half court trap, I think the half court trap has worked much better for Wake Tech tonight.
True. Okay, and that was close to a 5-second call there, but it wasn't. Again, that defense really putting the pressure on the Dolphins.
That's right, force them to make mistakes, and we almost had a steal there by Davis.
Absolutely. We pressured them on the ball at the top of the key, and then, again, anticipating the steal, Davis was there ready for the ball. Looks like we're going to man-to-man this.
That's right, you might be able to hear this in the background, but Wake Tech likes to say D up. They do this as a chant, as a war cry, to get some energy going on the defensive side of the ball. D up.
Presley with the miss, but that was number 11, Persall, with the rebound. And that was just off the Dolphins' hands. It'll be Eagles' ball.
Off the hands of the Teal, it'll go to the Eagles.
Okay. Quick hands there by Presley. And we have 54 seconds left in the third quarter. It is now a 20-point
20-point lead,
game here.
quietly a 20-point lead,
37,
yeah.
yes. So if the Dolphins don't get on board with something here,
Could easily let that ball go out of bounds, reset again. 10 seconds on the shot clock.
10 seconds on the clock. Let's see how the Eagles handle this pressure that the Dolphins have just put on them defensively. Emily cutting through the hole, throwing it up, draws the foul.
I think that's the right thing to do. Yep, you let the clock tick down, you drive the lane. Davis was able to pick up a foul. It's going to send her to the free throw line and attempt to extend this lead out to 22.
Right. And as you mentioned earlier, Davis, solid from the line, sinking her last 2.
She makes it look so easy.
Make that 3.
Yeah.
That is Johnson leaving the game. Breland Clark coming in. Davis now 4 for 4 from the foul line just on the last 2 attempts. So we've got this full court press going on. The Dolphins actually break that pretty well.
Now you got to get back fast on the
So now we got to
defense.
drop below the ball here and spread out. We're in a 2-3 zone. Presley again.
Another miss.
Can't find it. We have Erica Persall, number 11 for the Dolphins, shooting 2.
Was able to will that one in.
She did. I was just thinking that. Front of the rim and in. Second one, much smoother. Breland on the inbounds to Moran, quickly over to Davis. We'll see what the Dolphins have set up here. It looks like a 3-2.
Shot clock is turned off. They can let the clock wind down if they'd like and get one more play.
7 seconds left. Oh, it's a turnover. Appears to be a foul call on the play. Speaking of sportsmanship, I want to mention that number 33, that's Kara Bailey, who just gave the nod to our early on the foul. Very sportsmanlike.
Yep.
We really love to see that, especially in a contact sport. It can get pretty intense sometimes. So I like it when we keep our cooler heads and appreciate the game. So right now what you're seeing is the referees going back and forth with Brunswick's coach regarding being in the box.
Yeah, you got to stay inside that coach's box. You know, it's you could easily get a warning to the table, or you can get an automatic technical foul. So coaches are going to have to watch that.
Right, 2 technicals. That's an ejection.
So a miss on the first free throw.
Right, early with the second, and it's good. So 1 for 2 there. Presley's taking the ball out again. The Eagles are pressing. The middle's not open. Presley's going to take it herself, and the clock runs out there.
I don't think she knew how much time was left on the clock.
I don't think she did. And when you're down 60-39, as the Dolphins are going into this fourth quarter, you really have to be heads up. I mean, really at any time, you need to know how much time's on the clock.
Yep.
So
And you would think a heads-up player like that, you mentioned heads-up, you know, this is your leading scorer. The offense has run through her tonight. She has been a little frustrated in terms of being able to get shots to drop. So is this becoming a little bit more mental now?
I think it is starting to wear on her a little bit with the few of the shots that she took towards the end of the third quarter were kind of forced, and she's used to them dropping, and they don't seem to be dropping tonight. And again, there was about 5 or 6 seconds left on the clock, so that's plenty of time for her to drive and get a shot off.
Yeah.
And I think she took too much time in the backcourt getting it there, and then left herself no time to get at least a shot off.
You know, I think with what you said perfectly, 5 seconds left on the clock, there's no reason why you can't get at least 3/4 down the court and get a decent shot.
Absolutely. So again, I just want to repeat, the Eagles are up 60-39 right now. And this will be it for us,
This
Joshua.
is the fourth quarter.
We've got 10 minutes left.
This is the inaugural broadcast. We have said this is the beta test. So other than Carlos, this might not ever get seen.
Maybe not. We're
ever
gonna watch
again.
it, though.
But you know what? We're going to have to keep this for historical purposes.
I agree.
Because this could be the first
I agree.
of who knows how many seasons of broadcast that we have.
Right.
You know,
Pave
who
the
knows?
way,
That's right.
right?
Well, you know, I
Did
think
we
we say
ever
here at
get
Wake Tech,
feed-
lead the way. So we are leading the way.
Leading the way.
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
it. I like it. Did we ever get any feedback from Carlos?
We did.
We did.
All right.
Excellent.
Thank you,
Excellent.
Carlos. Uh-oh.
A little miscommunication on
stolen
the play
away,
there, which
stolen
leads
away.
to a turnover. That was Grant with the steal. Feeds it to Emily,
There it
who
is.
scores
Up,
2.
been in. That's
Eagles
what we're
coming
used
out
to
hot.
seeing. Yeah, that's
They're
what we're used
ready
to seeing.
finish this game, and they're D'ing up right here, Joshua.
Yes, they are. Timeout call.
Timeout
Full.
call. As you know, they only have 10 seconds to get the ball across
That's
the
right.
court, and that was probably a good 5 or 6 that they used there. So good timeout by their coach, bailing them out on that play.
You know,
and you got to give credit to the Eagles.
Yeah.
Their defense was there.
Right, and you got to think, you know, yeah, okay, it's 39-62, but you can't leave anything out there on the table. You got to go ahead and
Right.
finish off the easy plays, and then you got to pick it up on defense. You can't lay back and let another team get in the ball game, especially late.
You make
especially
an
late in the
excellent
contest.
point. You know, I'm on the side of you've got to improve your play regardless of what the score is. It's not about running up the score. It's not about who's in the game. It's about making the most of each play that you get. And regardless of the score, I mean, for the Eagles, they're probably going to get some players to have maybe some more minutes than they would usually get. And that's a great opportunity for them to showcase their
Oh,
skills,
absolutely.
and as well as get that experience. So again, you can't lay off here.
No, absolutely not.
And like I mentioned to you, you know, we're only 25 seconds in, and they came out hot off the bench, ready to start this fourth quarter.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, what I saw there from that full court press, that's the best of the night. Best of the
Absolutely,
night that I've
absolutely.
seen.
They had nowhere to go.
Nope.
Anytime you force a coach to call a timeout because you're risking a 10-second call, you're doing something right on defense. Or should I say you're doing everything right
Doing everything
on
right.
defense.
That's right. You're cutting off the angles. You're taking away the lanes. You're doing it right. Nice block.
Oh, nice block by Early. We've mentioned her a lot tonight. And that's Moran with the feed to Davis. Davis drives.
It's going to go against the
and
Eagles.
does not draw the foul. Instead,
It is a charge.
charged
Yep.
with a charge.
So now she's signaling she's got 4 fouls. So this is going to be a very interesting decision for Coach Beasley.
Right.
Do you take her out of the lineup?
That looked to be a travel, but it was not called.
Yeah,
That was
everybody in the
number
stands
5.
calling for steps, and I didn't hear the whistle blown.
That was Shayla Ellis with the 2 points, and it looks like the Dolphins are starting to press the Eagles now. Early struggling a little bit on the dribble, but still driving to the basket and drawing a foul.
You know, if there wasn't a whistle blown there for that foul, I would have thought that would have been kind of an ill-advised shot to take, but it worked out
agree.
for her.
So we've got Early back at the line. Her last attempt, she was 1 for 2.
1 for 2.
And it looks like Perry is good to go because she's at the table with Johnson, getting ready to be subbed back in. It looked as though maybe she tweaked her ankle earlier, but she's got the all clear.
Was checked out by the trainer on staff here, or at least
And
hanging
Coach-
out,
Yep.
observing our players.
Yeah. Coach Beasley has decided to take Emily Davis out with one of those subs and Ashlyn Moran with the other.
I would say that's a good decision. You know, you
I agree.
got nearly 9 minutes left to play.
Right.
You know, okay, let's say that Brunswick is able to chisel away at the lead. If you
Right.
let her get her 5th foul now,
Right. You don't
that
have her
opens
later.
the door to problems.
Right. And like you said, with a lead like this, it'd be better to rest her. It's not worth risking injury, leaving her in the game
Right.
when you have such a big lead.
Late game foul trouble now starting to creep in for the Eagles.
I agree. I think fatigue from all of that tough defense is starting to set in. That was Early, number 41, called for that foul. And she's now being subbed out by Wilson. So it looks like we've got 3 freshmen on the court to 2 sophomores for the Eagles. Eagles are up 63-41. We've got 8 minutes and 41 seconds left in regulation, and maybe that's a little momentum for the Dolphins. We've got possibly a 3-point play here.
Yeah, so Wake Tech came out in the 4th quarter looking really good, really hot, and now things have gone completely 180 for them.
And that's number 32 for the Dolphins, Shea Robinson. knocking down the and one. Grant with the inbounds to Johnson. Johnson having some trouble handling that ball. I wonder if you're right, Joshua. It looks like fatigue setting in for the Eagles, and the Dolphins are getting some energy.
You got to go back to the basics now. You got to play smart basketball. One foot in front of the other. You just get it across that timeline. That should be your first priority.
Oh, Perry running into some trouble there with her own teammate, Breland Clark, and then a steal by number 3 and the score by Carwise for the Dolphins.
5 unanswered points now for the Dolphins.
Tamia Grant bringing the ball up the court, looking for Johnson. Johnson driving, just throwing it up. Wilson.
That took a lucky bounce off the glass.
It did. I wasn't going to say it, but since you did, I'll agree. It's getting a little sloppy here,
it is.
Joshua.
Grant with the steal, looking for Johnson. Fires up a 3.
Again throwing up the 3 with no one under the basket. So, again, I'm surprised she didn't drive on that.
But we are going to benefit here. The Eagles are going to take the basketball back.
And it looks like we got a full clock here to start with. There's 30 on the shot clock.
Turnover for the
Grant
Eagles.
with the turnover. I don't think she saw number 4. That was Walton for the Dolphins that came out of nowhere to pick that ball off. And there we go again, number 3, Carwise, I just mentioned earlier, hitting the 3. So we're at 65-48 with 7:27 left to go in regulation. Breland Clark driving to the basket, trying for the reverse, and it's no good. She gets her own rebound with the putback, still no good. Number 3 pushing the ball up the court. We got a foul on the play by Johnson. So it looks like both coaches are seeing what's happening here. Coach Beasley responding by putting Emily Davis and Ashley Moran in.
Yeah, and Davis comes in with those 4 fouls, so she only got about a 2-minute rest before the wheels started falling off. And I know it's still 65-48. You know, you've still got a pretty decent advantage.
But you never know.
Yeah, you start reading the tea leaves a little bit, and you think, okay, Wake Tech on the offensive side, throwing up anything because of the defense by the Dolphins.
Right.
But
and on the Dolphins side, as you see, Presley's going back in, and they just took a 30-second timeout. Kind of discuss what's going on here. Again, you mentioned it's 65-49.
30-second timeout.
So this was called by the Dolphins, so they've already taken a full and a 30 for this half.
Beasley really giving it to her team right now. Very unhappy with the plays the last few times up and down the court. We'll see how they respond coming out of the timeout.
Always a good time for a reminder during the timeouts to visit us online, waketechsports.com. There you can find out when we will play our next games. You know, we are getting close to the end of the year.
That's right.
At Wake Tech Sports on Twitter. You can also find us on Facebook and on Instagram. We are social. So back to the free throw line now for the Dolphins. They're going to take 1. That'll continue to chisel away at the lead for Wake Tech.
And she sinks it.
Which sits at 65-50. It's a 15-point edge.
That was Wiggins, number 15, with the free throw. Tamia Grant.
She picked up her dribble.
With what was almost a turnover, Johnson hustles to it. We've got a 10-second violation.
Right.
So the Dolphins are starting to get pumped up here in the 4th.
Yeah. You start to feel the momentum shifting here just a bit.
Right. I feel like there was some miscommunication there as I don't think it was expected for Grant to bring the ball up the court. And here we got a wide open lane. Lucky for the Eagles, she missed. Grant, again, bringing the ball up the court, looking for somebody.
Yeah, players have got to get open. Check to the ball. Check to the ball.
That was a great look.
Yep. And
a miss. Wow. That was a great pass by Grant. I got to tell you, she does a great job finding players under the basket. They just have to finish. I've said it numerous times tonight, I feel like, and if I didn't say it, I know I thought it in my head. Those are the points that you can't afford to give away
there. You're absolutely right. You know, and to me, probably not your preferred ball handler to take the ball up the court, but I feel safe enough for her to be able to find that pass, to dish it off.
Yes.
You got to be able to finish, as you mentioned.
So that was Wilson making one and missing one from the line. Looks like the Eagles are going. Okay, Eagles answer back with a full court press. Dolphins were not ready for it.
A little bit of a mental mistake there. Took her eye off the ball.
Got to handle it with care. Emily with the inbounds, finding Moran. No shot there. Tamia looks, nothing, kicks it back out to Moran. Oh, just missed. Great rebound by Grant and a strong putback.
That's what she does best.
Expecting from Grant.
That's what she does best. She fights for every rebound.
Yes, she does. That was a strong putback. 14 made a good post move. She made a great post move on Wilson, getting open and putting that ball up.
Get behind your defender, get her on your hip, and you got the ball in the net.
We are now 69-52 Eagles. That was
Up
close. That was close there. On that last play, looks like the Dolphins are breaking the press pretty easily.
Yeah, they really are.
Looking for 14. She just missed. Grant again with the rebound.
Picked up her dribble again.
Somebody else to bring the ball up the court. Yeah, you're right. She did much better, even though she doesn't look as comfortable coming up the court. 10 seconds again, Joshua. 10 seconds again.
Yeah, you know,
wow.
I can understand Tamia picking up her dribble. She had some pressure down there, but Moran has got to get that ball over the timeline. You got to be able to work your way through the defenders, especially late game.
Absolutely.
You know, players now are probably more apt to commit a foul if they're able to try to get by you.
I feel like we were a little more cohesive earlier on in the game. We look a little disconnected right now. And there's Presley driving in for two. She does not get it, but she does draw the foul.
A little bit of a mismatch there. Johnson having to come in and take charge on the defensive side.
So we're at 70-52 with 5 minutes and 30 seconds left. Presley on the line, taking her first of two, and she sinks the first one.
And points with the clock stopped. That goes against anything you want to have happen.
You make an excellent point. We're trying to run this time down. And let's see how she does.
Lane violation.
Lane violation.
You don't see that called very often.
On the Dolphins. So again, and she made that. So that's another missed opportunity there.
So Tamia Grant with the inbound play. Dolphins with the full court press. Eagles.
Johnson was begging for the long ball pass there, but Tamia didn't hit her. There's Johnson for three, and it's good. Brunswick trying to push it up the court here to see what they can get out of this play.
Johnson finally got one to drop for her. She really was wanting one tonight. She finally got it.
That's Perry picking up the ball, driving our way. Johnson again deciding to drive, kicking it out to Davis. Davis driving. Davis doesn't have much there. She actually had three defenders on her. Brunswick again, sideline to sideline, tried for the reverse, did not get it.
Yeah, we had two players down there for the rebound, and Brunswick comes up with it. We had the numbers.
We did.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think fatigue is starting to set in. It is now 73-53, and we're going on 4 minutes and 45 seconds left in regulation.
That's still a fair cushion at 20 points.
It is. But again, as we mentioned, you still want to see good basketball regardless of what the score is. And so how they respond when they're fatigued determines how good they're going to be at the end of the season. It's really how well you do when you're tired. Wouldn't you agree?
I would agree. And another timeout called here. It looks like it was called by Brunswick.
Okay. We got a full, so we'll see what the reactions are on both of the timeouts. I will say this, Brunswick's coach, very composed, hasn't showed a lot of emotion the entire game, regardless of the score.
He did talk a little bit to the ref earlier, the center official. Came out of his box.
That is true.
That was about the only time that we saw him get really emotional about the contest. But as you mentioned, certainly composed, still, even though they're down 18 points, still trying to will his team to victory. With 4:45 left to play.
I will say we haven't had a lot of complaints about the officials tonight either from either of the coaches. I think it's been a very consistently called game. They've allowed them to play.
And that's the other thing too, is that Steph, we kind of live this, and we're here night in, night out. We get familiar with these officials. It's pretty much the same crew each and every game, and they're out here, they're working a full-time job, and they come out here just to have some fun, maybe get a little exercise. I don't know, I haven't been an official either.
Could you imagine? I imagine they get a whole lot of exercise.
But no, they do a great job for not just us, but the NJCAA.
Yes, and we've got a long ball pass on the inbounds to Davis, who drives it in for 2. Now we're dropping back on defense here. Brunswick looking for an open man. Found number 14, but Sophie's too big for her to go up against, so she kicks it back out to number 4, Walton, who swings it back to Presley. Presley's going to drive and go up. She's all by herself and misses a wide open layup there. Sophie with the rebound, but then a quick turnover and a foul.
I cannot at all fault Davis for pulling away there. She could have easily picked up her 5th foul, so she had to let the offensive player go in, but it worked out to our advantage momentarily, but an ill-advised pass gave the ball right back. And now a familiar storyline, Brunswick at the free throw line.
Yes. And again, from a coaching standpoint, I mentioned Sophie, who's getting subbed now for Wilson, got the rebound, forced a pass. It was a turnover.
That's right.
And then she fouls.
That's right.
So regardless of who the player is making those plays, as a coach, you always want to teach that, if you mess one thing up, you don't want to have another mistake back to back.
That's right.
Davis driving, does not draw the foul. It looked clean.
Looking for the foul, didn't get it. Tamia Grant, the only one back.
Presley again with a missed layup.
I think Tamia got her hand on that. I think she had a deflection.
Maybe.
Stole it away.
Here's Davis with the steal, and she drives from the left, and it's good.
The easiest 2 of the night for Davis.
We are now 77-55 with 3:40 to go in the 4th quarter.
Oh.
And that's a 2 for number 3, Carwise. So again, back to the 20-point lead. Johnson pushing the ball up the court. Grant calling for the mismatch underneath.
And you don't need a quick play here. You don't need a quick play here.
Run the clock down.
That's right.
Every possession, run the clock down, get a good shot, and take it.
Oh, that's a travel.
At this point, that is a travel. When you're on the ground, you can't have those feet moving. You need to stay, keep your feet in place, make the pass from the floor, or call the timeout if you have it.
And I just don't know if she lost her own footing or maybe she tripped over her player's foot. I was away from that one momentarily enough where I missed it.
Wow.
Oh.
Davis hits Wilson for the wide open 2
Easy
under
underneath.
the basket. That may have been the easiest 2 of the game. We've got 11. Davis again getting her hands in there.
Nice block.
Blocked by Wilson, recovered by Grant. Grant's dribbling down, looking up, doesn't see anything. She's going to take it herself, go for the reverse maybe. Nope, nothing there. Kicks it out to Perry for 3, and it's good. It's good. We are now 82-57. As I mentioned, the
About 2.5
Eagles
to play.
average 74.3 points per game. So they have met and exceeded their average tonight. Brunswick, on the other hand, averaging 67.5 points per game and haven't quite got there yet. A little commotion on the bench there. I didn't see what that was, Joshua.
No, I missed that one too. Taking a look at the clock and seeing that there's 2:30 to play, I think it's safe to say that this one is going to go down as a W for Wake Tech. You credit the defensive side of the ball. You credit shutting down the offensive players for Brunswick.
Absolutely.
You had the fifth
Presley
leading.
had a tough night tonight.
Yeah,
You're
the
absolutely
fifth
right.
leading scorer coming in for the conference, and she just didn't have that breakout game that she's used to having.
And I think she is having an off game on her own, as she did miss some wide open shots that I think she would typically make. But a lot of that frustration, I think, is a credit to the Eagle defense,
Absolutely,
because
yes.
they really held it down.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see how these last 2 minutes and 31 seconds go.
And Davis, number 2 for Wake Tech, our leading scorer for the season and leading the conference in scoring.
Leading
Sitting
the
on
country.
leading the country,
Leading
sitting
the
on 4
country.
fouls. So she's done a good job managing herself.
Kicks it out to 14. 14 with the miss, but
Always
gets
follow
her
your
own
rebound.
Another miss. Presley going up again, missing another 2-footer, but does get fouled on the play. So let's see how she does here at the line. Eagles with a couple more substitutions here.
So, you start to pay attention to other things that you're seeing from our players and on the court. What about the fashion statement? I'm seeing the headbands are back in style now.
Headbands are
Yeah,
back.
they're back.
It's the thing.
It is.
Everybody's got them.
Yeah.
All for one and one for all.
Yeah,
it does look like
yeah.
everyone has one. Good observation.
Well,
there,
I don't want to
Joshua.
age myself here, but I think the last time these were in style were in the 90s when I was playing high school soccer.
Just like if it was high socks. I wouldn't notice high socks. That was back then, right?
Hey, I'm waiting for the tube socks to come back into style.
Davis driving, kicking it back out. Moran driving, misses. Number 3, Carwise with the rebound, taking it the other way, and she drives all the way to the basket. Does not get the 2, but is fouled by Grant on the play. Really unnecessary to slow the clock down right now. No need to foul. It's 82 to 59 Eagles.
Yeah, you can almost.
And if we're being honest here, the Dolphins have had trouble scoring, so it really doesn't make sense.
Yeah, kind of step out of the way, let them see if they can get that.
Let them see if they can make it at this point. Keep the clock going, get out of the game. That's Grant with the
Yeah, great
rebound.
rebound.
I feel like I've said that a lot tonight. Kicking it out to Clark, who takes it all the way on her own. Grant again with the rebound and the putback, unsuccessful. Early with the rebound and the putback, unsuccessful.
Another foul.
Brunswick with the ball, and we've got a foul on the play. And not sure who he's pointing to. Let's see who that'll
That's
be
going
on.
to be Tamia.
It is 30. Hand to the face there. You could tell by her face that she knew that it was her as well.
And you also see on her face, too, that she knows that's her 5th foul, so she will
Right.
come out of the game.
So we are just under 2 minutes in the 4th quarter. Eagles are up 82 to 60. Missing the first one. We
Yeah, missed
talked
the first
about
one.
those free throws. Those really add up.
Another miss from the
Another
line.
miss from the line, but a rebound and a travel.
Steps
I knew
called,
it was
yes.
a travel.
Yeah,
We
that's
just
right.
talked about that. Picked both feet up.
So, yeah, no need to rush here. Just get it across the midline. Let the shot clock wind down.
I gotta say here though, when you're down 82 to 60, and the Dolphins are still trying a full court press
really
here,
are.
they are not
Yeah.
quitting. I mean, they're working hard here at the end of the game.
Well, they're employing what Wake Tech should be doing, which is letting you drive the lane. You've had trouble getting layups to go your way.
That was Clark with the steal. Davis with the pickup. Draws the foul, but does not score. Another great display of sportsmanship
That's right.
there. I think the fans are ready for the fouling to stop as well. Got a notification over here.
Well, that raises a good point. If we were to pick a player of the game, who would we pick? I've seen a lot of good stuff out there tonight. I've never seen Breland Clark play basketball. I thought she did great. She did a good job out there. But, I'm going to have to go with Davis. I mean, Davis has been solid at the free throw line. She hasn't had a peak performance. I've seen her break out of her shell. But
Early
she managed
with
her
the rebound and the putback. That was a tough play right there. I didn't mean to cut you off there, but I really didn't think she was going to try and put it back, and she did. That was a great attempt, although unsuccessful.
And that could be 5 on her.
So the Eagles now have 2 that have fouled out of the game.
That's right.
So I would agree that Emily Davis, number 2, who's leaving the court now, as you mentioned, great player. We're used to stellar performances. Tonight maybe not have been her best, but still solid.
Yeah, still.
But I agree as well. Breland Clark had a lot of hustle plays.
That's right.
Had at least 8 to 10 points off the top of our head.
Gave quality minutes when they were needed.
Absolutely. Brought in the hustle factor. I will say this, I did mention a lot tonight, early. She rebounded.
Yes.
So her too.
You're right. Mm-hmm. And Perry had a hot hand there for a few minutes.
Perry did get hot in the second half. And that's Wilson with the rebound. Sophie getting the ball back to Bree. Bree bringing it down the court, looking for something to open up. And a turnover there by Johnson. Just couldn't hang on to the ball. Number 15 driving and scoring. Again, that was Tanette Wiggins, number 15 for the Dolphins, putting 2 more on the board.
So now under a minute to play.
Under a minute. It's 83 to 62.
Another turnover.
Bree almost turns it over and recovers it. Looking for Ashlyn. There's nothing underneath. Swinging it to Sophie. Sophie finds Johnson. Johnson for 3. It's good. It's good. I don't know if you noticed this, but I've mentioned multiple times tonight, when they move the ball well and they wait for the good open shot and take it, they are very successful.
Yeah. You find the extra pass, you get an open look.
Find the extra pass. I think when Brunswick looks at the film, they're going to think the same thing. Look for the extra pass.
So the shot clock's turned off, 20 seconds to play, 86-62 Wake Tech. They're going to safely claim victory here over the Dolphins. This is going to push the record now I'm looking at the wrong one because I had to get the men's stats earlier for you. So we're going to switch on over to women's basketball.
And the Dolphins not going to foul here. No need to. They're going to let them dribble it out here. We are at 0. So, Joshua.
86-62 the final score. Women's basketball with the victory. They now go to 5-2 overall in the season, 3-2 in conference play.
Great defensive effort there by the Eagles. That defense really created a lot of offense for them. I'm sure Coach Beasley's proud of their play.
And now we're got a couple more games left here at home. The women's team is wrapped up with this contest for the rest of 2018.
Right.
So we won't see them back in action in the Eagles Nest until 2019. So they are going to be on the road. However,
men's basketball is going to be home.
Men's team is going to be in action on Saturday, December the 8th. That's going to be against Bryant and Stratton College.
Yes.
That's a 3 o'clock tip.
And the 18th, I believe, is their last home game of the semester and their last game of the semester. Okay, and at this time, we're going to take it to Emily
Nice.
Davis. Hop right in. Hi, Emily.
Hi.
Yeah, welcome to the broadcast.
Thank
Yes,
you.
it was. So tell us how you're feeling about the game tonight.
We pulled through. We definitely wanted to win this one because of last game. We played together, so I'm really happy about that.
How do you feel specifically about your performance? What do you think you did well? What do you think you can improve?
My shooting was definitely off today, but I'm happy I had less turnovers than last game, and I still found a way to incorporate my teammates and score myself.
Good. What do you think you guys are going to take away from this game moving forward into the next game?
We're learning how to play with each other in different groups, which is good. Our freshmen definitely stepped up today when the sophomores were in foul trouble, so playing together in different groups, and I feel like our what am I trying to say?
That's okay. Take your time.
I just feel like the chemistry is getting better. with that.
Absolutely. It can be tricky. And like you said, with basketball, you have different groups going in at different times, and you have to play with different people, and it's not always your same set. So, as you said, the chemistry is coming together, and I think we saw that from the sidelines as well. What can you tell us about your transition from Shaw to Wake Tech, and how are you feeling about being at Wake Tech this year?
Well, at Shaw, my role on the team wasn't really to score. I think I only averaged 5 points at Shaw.
Okay.
So.
And you're leading the NJCAA right now, so that's pretty awesome, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. How are you feeling about that? Good?
Yeah, I'm really happy about that. I put in a lot of work over summer with Coach Q and Coach AB, so I'm definitely happy about that.
Great. And what would you tell any recruits that are thinking about Wake Tech?
It's a great program. We have great coaches that are willing to work with you and put the time in, so I would highly recommend coming to Wake Tech.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for your time, Emily. We wish you the best in your next 4 games.
Thank
and
you.
hope you get great grades this semester, which I'm sure you will, okay? And a happy holiday.
Thank you, you too.
Yep. All right. Joshua's going to come back in, and we're going to wrap it up.
Slide back in. All right.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
Not bad.
Yeah,
right?
that was
Not
fun.
bad.
Yeah,
that was a whole lot of fun.
Well, you know, I was just talking to Chris on the side here. 6 viewers. We had 6 viewers, and this is a beta test
Right.
for Eagle Stream on the
Right.
sports side of things. And I hope that you had about as much fun as we did. It's been an outstanding
Absolutely.
broadcast. As I've said before, and I'll say it again, if you want to go in depth with what we have, visit us online, waketechsports.com. You can also find us on social media at Wake Tech Sports.
On Twitter.
Yeah, I'm Joshua
Sounds
McKinney.
good.
Stephanie, it's all you.
Stephanie Sports signing off.
Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.